A woman almost fell from a signal tower over 1,000 meters high. Watching Andy spinning uncontrollably, her best friend desperately tightened the rock climbing rope, trying to pull Andy back up. Seeing the steel framework continuously falling, Andy couldn't imagine the consequences if she fell. At that moment, her best friend gave it her all, but just as she did, her best friend accidentally slipped, and the climbing rope quickly slid down. By the time it stabilized again, Andy collided with the steel pipe once more. Even so, her best friend didn't give up. Fortunately, Andy finally caught a broken ladder, and the terrifying high-altitude crisis was averted. After managing to climb back up, the two women didn't feel fear, but instead laughed excitedly. But unfortunately, they realized their backpack had fallen below. More seriously, the ladder they had used to climb was now gone. No matter how strong the climber, no one could descend from a 1,000-meter high tower. At this point, both women were panicking. Originally, they wanted to take out their phones to call for help, but there was no signal at all. Then Andy unexpectedly discovered a metal box, which contained a pair of binoculars and a flare gun. Her best friend took the binoculars and looked around, but saw that no one had passed by. 5 hours passed, and her best friend noticed a man and a dog below the signal tower. Despite their desperate screams, the man didn't hear them. Then the dog seemed to notice something, and barked. The man thought the dog was just acting up, and hurried away. Andy was now truly anxious. She quickly took off her shoes, and threw one down from the high tower. Unfortunately, neither the man nor the dog noticed. She threw the other shoe in the direction the man had left. This time, the shoe hit the ladder, and there was a loud noise. The man seemed to notice something, walked to the ladder, picked up the shoe, and looked around, but saw no one. He turned and left again. At 1,000 meters above the ground, Andy was getting ready to shoot a flare to catch the man's attention. However, her best friend stopped her. The reason was that the man wasn't looking in their direction, and it would be hard for anyone to notice a flare in the daytime. They only had one chance. Meanwhile, her best friend noticed a camper van not far away. Now, they just had to wait until nightfall to fire the flare, and they would soon be rescued. Before long, night fell. Seeing that the two men were about to leave, her best friend immediately notified Andy, telling her to fire the flare. With a loud gunshot, a red light streaked across the night sky. At that moment, the man also saw the strange light in the distance. To draw his attention, her best friend turned on her phone, shaking the flashlight, signaling for help from the signal tower. The two men finally noticed their presence, and drove the camper van towards them. The two women were overjoyed, but the men didn't come to rescue them. Instead, they attempted to steal their car. The two women watched in despair as they drove away. And so, the night passed, and the two women remained on the small platform, with the hope of rescue growing increasingly dim.